Welcome back everybody to a brand new SkillCapped video. Today we'll be breaking down the top 3 solo carry champions for each role in patch 11.11. These are the champions who rise above all else, possessing the greatest ability to impact games on their own. Just before we get into it, let us know which role you think is currently the most broken for solo queue. There's always been a constant debate between mid and jungle as the most OP role, but support is another that's gaining more attention these days as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic down in the comments below. So you don't miss out on any of our future uploads, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and with that said, let's get started. Our first solo carry top laner sees his 2 core items buffed, which will lead to complete domination, being Wukong. Riot's intentions with the Divine Sunderer buffs were to help out many of the struggling bruisers. However, it comes at a price, as they've also made one of the most broken top laners even more insane. Divine Sunderer and Black Cleaver are Wukong's bread and butter purchases, so it's without question his strength will be at an all-time high. So many of the best top laners from previous patches like Urgot, Darius, and Gnar have been nerfed, which fuels Wukong's rise even more. Other than Malphite and Shen, very few meta matchups give Wukong much trouble, so if you just ban one of them out, it really limits the enemy's counter ability. A sample full build will consist of a Divine Sunderer rush into Black Cleaver 2nd and Sterix 3rd. Conqueror is Wukong's best keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Dip into Resolve for secondaries, running Bone Plating and Overgrowth. A new addition to our 3 solo carry top laners that we're excited to feature is Ornn. Slowly making his way up the tier list in previous patches, Ornn sees a big spike in power due to the Warmog's buffs. If you guys have been following our Korean builds videos, then you'd know of the Warmogs and Stoneplate build that Koreans have been abusing on Ornn for lots of free elo. To keep it really simple, the Warmog's buff allows you to instantly gain access to its health regen passive at 2 items, so it becomes a way more reliable pickup and provides a nasty mid-game spike. Since Stoneplate Shield scales off your max health, the synergy is really nuts. Not only Warmogs, but Abyssal Mask, which was buffed 2 patches back as well, which is a core Ornn item when up against heavy AP comps. We expect Ornn to continue flying under the radar throughout 11.11, so look to start abusing him before everyone else. The core build is a Chemtank Rush into Warmog 2nd and Stoneplate 3rd. Grasp or Spellbook work great on Ornn depending on the matchup. When your lane opponent is melee and you're confident in trading aggressively against them, take Grasp. In ranged matchups or lanes you're unsure as to how they play out, roll with Spellbook. Making a return from the last patch and holding down a spot in our top 3 is Shen. The ultimate buffs have been the driving factor in Shen's resurgence up the tier list. He's got a little bit of everything you want in a great solo carry top lane pick. Most Shen players run Ignite instead of Teleport for the secondary summoner spell, which offers some great early kill threat. If you can pick up that early kill in lane, Shen is one of the best top laners at running away with the game. The level 6 ult plays down bot are massive game changers, and especially in solo queue where players force without the thought of Shen ulting down makes it even more powerful. Start off your build by rushing a Frostfire Gauntlet, go into Titanic Hydra 2nd and Thornmail 3rd. There's also the more supportive XP2 build of Redemption 2nd and Mikhail's 3rd. For runes, take Grasp of the Undying with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Secondaries are Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out our hyper improvement system at SkillCapped.com. We have professional courses by the top players, Smurf commentaries where a challenger player walks you through how to climb out of every rank from Iron to Diamond, and we upload tons of new exclusive guides to our website each week. In fact, we're so confident you'll improve using our system that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using SkillCapped, you can claim a full refund, so there's no risk. What are you waiting for? Check out SkillCapped.com and get the rank you've always wanted. Link in the description below. Moving on to our 3 solo carry junglers, first up is Xin Zhao. Even with the Hail of Blades nerfs, Shen will remain an extremely effective pick. If the HOB nerfs cause it to fall out of meta, Conqueror is a perfectly strong alternative keystone for Shen, so his power level won't be affected. Jungle changes from last patch have really favored Shen as he wants to play a fast-paced, heavy gank style. Camps with longer respawn timers means Shen can be on the map much more often and influence the early game really well. For the build, rush and Eclipse into Sterix and Guardian Angel if you want more survivability. For a burstier setup, you can slot in an Essence Reaver 2nd and delay Sterix until 3rd. You'll now have 2 really good options for runes. The first is Hail of Blades with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Relentless Hunter combined with Triumph and Alacrity for secondaries. Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, and then Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter for secondaries can work too. Our second jungle recommendation for 11.11 is Kayn, as he's been indirectly and directly buffed quite a bit as of recent. Black Cleaver buffs, the catch-up XP changes, other junglers being nerfed, and a direct buff to Kayn's QAD ratio have all added up in his favor. The nerfs to Bramble Vest are also another small indirect change that benefits Kayn. The raw carry power Kayn possesses at form and on 2 items is hard for others to match. The disruption from W and consistent damage output from Q allows Kayn to thrive in those drawn-out skirmishes. Gore Drinker and Black Cleaver provide really great durability, while you'll still be a massive damage threat at the same time. Third item will be Sterix to make it even more impossible to take you down. Pick up Conqueror as your keystone with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Secondary runes are Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter. Another new addition leaping into the top 3 is Kha'Zix. Just like Kayn, Kha'Zix has been trending upwards the past little while, and as we see many of the picks who were slightly above him get nerfed, it's time for Ka to shine again. Ka is one of the scariest junglers in the game with a lead, as he has the ability to point and click one-shot. Prowler's Claw makes Ka's pick range even more insane and allows you to find so many free kills on enemies who are caught out of position. Claw in combination with Serpent's Fang is a lethal duo that gives you great consistent one-shot. And Edge of Night for a little durability works great as a third item. Pick up Dark Harvest with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter for runes. Sorcery secondary, running Absolute Focus, and Water Walking is the way to go. Sylas has managed to escape the nerf bat in 11.11, so he's holding down his spot as a solo carry mid. Sylas is one of the best skirmishers there are, which makes him such a great pick for solo queue. Possessing a nice mix of burst and consistent damage output allows Sylas to remain a threat throughout the entirety of a fight. Haste stacking puts Sylas W on a 3-second cooldown at max rank, which is so nasty. You can go from 20% health back up to full in a matter of seconds. The build is Everfrost into Cosmic Drive, which is one of the most broken 2-item spikes there is in the game. A third item, Zanya's, is generally the best purchase. Grab Conqueror as the keystone with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Biscuits and Cosmic Insight are the best secondaries. A great answer to Sylas and many of the hotly contested meta mids is Rumble. Although Rumble's play rate is always quite low, you can't deny his carry strength against the most played mid lane picks. The change to Rumble's passive was intended to give him more agency as a top laner, however, it's just made mid lane even stronger while top is still very mediocre. 8 of the 10 most played mid laners for solo queue are melee, and Rumble absolutely feasts in those matchups. The short cooldown shield from W makes it almost impossible to lose trades, while the all-in burst from a full combo into whacking away with passive will surprise everyone as to how much burst it can do. So much of Rumble mid's power comes from being able to hard shove out a wave instantly with Q and look for roams around the map. Roaming with ultimate on an overextended laner is a guaranteed free kill every time, which makes Rumble a very consistent pick. The full build is Night Harvester into Zanya's and Void Staff. Take Electrocute in melee matchups so your all-in pop is even more insane. When against ranged mids, Comet will work best as it will be more difficult to proc Electrocute. As a result of only a few minor mid lane changes in 11.11, Zed will once again round out our top 3 solo carry mids. Our analysts believe Zed to be the best assassin mid laner for this patch. Countless amounts of Season 11 changes have left Zed in an amazing spot. There's honestly too many to count, but the Phase Rush nerfs, Seeker's nerfs, Serpent's Fang introduction, and Prowler's Claw addition are a few of the major factors. You have the ability to snowball harder than ever before as the active from Prowler's Claw extends your pick range by 500 units. Those pesky shield supports have much less to say about you jumping on their carries these days, which makes Zed's teamfight strength way better. After completing Prowlers and Serpents, a Serylda's Grudge third is a great choice. In games where you're up against heavy burst and you need more durability, then swapping Prowlers for Eclipse is worthwhile. If no shielding champs are present, the Collector second can work in place of Serpents. You should always take Electrocute as the keystone with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ultimate Hunter. Secondaries are Transcendence and Scorch. Climbing the ranks on our tier list and back into a top 3 position for ADC is Jhin. There have been so many direct and indirect nerfs to other marksmen, while Jhin has walked away untouched. The HOB nerfs this patch will indirectly hurt a bunch of picks, shifting even more priority onto Jhin. Since Jhin can incorporate Serpent's Fang into his build path quite well, he's even indirectly buffed for 11.11. The new Korean lethality build going around of Prowler's Claw into Serpent's Fang and Sanguine Blade can work great into squishy enemy comps. Gale Force into the Collector and Fire Cannon is still a great default route and will work better into beefier comps. Roll with Dark Harvest as the keystone, followed by Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter. Presence of Mind and Bloodline are the best secondaries. The second AD carry who's finally back in an amazing spot after sitting dormant through most of Season 11 is Kog'Maw. A couple really nice buffs combined with other ADCs nerfed and a new build have all led to Kog's rise. There's honestly so many different Kog'Maw builds that are viable right now, but one taking off in high elo is actually a tank setup. Wit's End was just buffed a few patches back and players have started rushing it. Second item is Hurricane, and then third is Randuin's Omen. With all the on-hit damage coming out of Kog W, building more defensively to stay alive longer is the idea behind the build. Kog really doesn't have any issues dealing mass DPS, it's just the fact he's quite vulnerable, so Wits and Randuin's shore up that weakness. The Kraken PD Quick Blades build is still great if you want to go full damage. Even Kraken into Rage Blade and Hurricane is a strong build too. Experiment and try them all out to see which you prefer the best. Although HOB was becoming very popular on Kog over in Korea, we would advise to take Lethal Tempo now due to the Hail of Blades nerfs. Follow it up with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Secondary runes are Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. Another hyper carry will round out the top 3 for this patch, being Vayne. Just like Jhin and Kog'Maw, it's been a while since Vayne was issued a significant nerf, so as other picks get hit, Vayne jumps past them in priority and is a highly valuable option for 11.11. Vayne's another champ who's quietly performing super well with a Wit's End second item, so when you're up against those heavy AP comps, picking up the buffed Wits is a great play. If you build something like Shield Bow into Wit's End, it completely nullifies enemy AP assassins, so Vayne's versatility is really great right now. Lulu in meta is another big driving factor for Vayne's success. It's nearly impossible for meta champs like Sylas or Zed to take down Vayne with a Shield Bow and Lulu by her side. Standard build right now is Kraken into Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge. Like mentioned though, Wit's End and Shield Bow are very strong situational purchases depending on the game. Press the Attack is Vayne's best keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Pick up Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter for secondaries. Moving on to breaking down our top 3 support picks. First up, we have Zyra, fresh off her buffs from 11.10. Anywhere from Diamond and below, Zyra is godlike for 11.11. Everything is trending in Zyra's favor, as we've seen nerfs to top supports like Thresh, Leona, and Senna. Enchanters are buffed this patch with Moonstone and Staff of Flowing Water changes, which will cause them to see more play, making Zyra an even better pick. As long as you ban out a heavy engaged support like Leona or Thresh, things will be smooth sailing. Even if your AD carry is a little boosted, it doesn't even matter since you can one-shot the enemy laner by yourself at level 6. Zyra's teamfight presence is extremely high, and you'll top the damage charts even with a much lesser gold income. The build to run is Liandry's into Zhonya's and Demonic Embrace. If you're really confident you don't need the defensive aspect of Zhonya's, you can pick up Demonic second and Rylai's third. Roll with Comet, Mana Flow Band, Transcendence, and Scorch for primary runes. Secondaries are Taste of Blood and Relentless Hunter. Lulu becomes even more busted for 11.11 due to the Staff of Flowing Water buffs, so it shouldn't come as a surprise she's back in the top 3. Unless Riot has some sort of bias toward Lulu, it likely won't be long till she receives some sort of nerf, so look to abuse while you can. Shirelia's changes a couple patches back have turned Lulu into the ultimate protector and makes it nearly impossible for dive champions to reach her carries. Seeing these hyper carries come back into meta like Vayne, Kog, and Jinx is great for Lulu too. Picks like Draven, Lucian, and Kalista have been absent from the meta for a while, so Lulu just fits in so well with what's trending. After rushing the Shirelias, go into Ardent second and Staff of Flowing Water third. Putrefire is a good situational item if the enemy comp has heavy healing. As for runes, there are 2 great pages, one being Airy for against other ranged supports, and then Guardian if you're laning versus those heavy CC hard engaged champs. And for our final solo carry support of the patch, we have Senna. Even though the Frostfire build becomes weaker, the alternative options are still amazing for Senna, and Black Cleaver was even buffed. Senna will actually be stronger now than before if you're building anything but Frostfire, since she saw a couple of nice direct buffs to compensate. If you guys watched our Korean builds video, then you'd know of the Divine Sunder into Black Cleaver build that you don't want to sleep on. Divine has always been a solid item for Senna, but just overshadowed by Kraken and Frostfire. Thanks to Sunder and Black Cleaver seeing buffs on the same patch, this 2-item spike will be so much better. The Kraken Slayer build will be a great alternative if you want a heavy offensive setup. It's not really necessary though, since Senna scales so well with souls, therefore building a little more defensive with Divine and Cleaver will be more reliable. Rune-wise, Glacial Augment with Magical Footwear, Biscuits, and Approach Velocity are great for primaries. Grab Presence of Mind and Alacrity for secondaries. And remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com, link in the description below. So there you have it, guys. Those are the top 3 solo carry champs for every role in patch 11.11. To stay in the loop with all our future content, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here soon.